The danger of it is I'm reminded when Jessie was talking about it, I don't know why, but the childhood toy, the Jack in the Box, just popped in my head. And, the Jack in the Box, it's like this ugly puppet or this clown that you stuff it down, into the box. And then you push the lid down. And basically you just crank it, and then poof, you never know when it's going to pop up. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't know anybody in my life and myself. I never liked that toy. I hated it. And nobody that I know likes that toy. And so when I think about just wearing a mask, I think about just like our lives is the danger is it's kind of like what we do is we stuff down stuff that we're going through and we hide this and then we keep stuffing and we keep stuffing and we keep stuffing. And then something happens in life. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be small, it could be big. And it starts to crank. And then we don't know what that thing is going to be that boop, it pops up and we explode. And we either mess up relationships, we mess up jobs, we mess up opportunities, whatever it is. And so to me, the danger of wearing that mask and hiding behind that is what we're doing is we're hiding who we really are. We're hiding struggles, we're hiding fears, we're hiding insecurities. And it's at a point in time, it's going to get to be too much. And it's in the crank of life, I'll call it that, is just going to keep cranking and we don't know how it's going to explode. And the danger also too is, to me, I've seen some of the most strongest people basically come face to face with wanting to take their life. And I remember, a while ago talking actually to an assistant pastor of the church. And I was just like, how did you get here? And she spent an hour unpacking all of this stuff. And so it wasn't just this, I lost my job today or I lost this relationship today. It was all of this stuff that got her to this moment where she was like, I'm done. I want it to be over. And so the danger sometimes could be face to face with wanting you to take your life. The danger is, losing relationships, jobs, whatever it is. But to me, finding a way to every day kind of peel back that layers, whether you're doing it privately or with people that you love, will to me kind of get us away from the mask / Jack in the Box kind of a syndrome.
I think like one of the real challenges for us as humans to transcend in life, I think, is to truly show up, as Rachel was saying, to truly be us. And I think that's what the world needs. The world needs all of us who have been created uniquely and on purpose to actually show up in the fullness of who we are, versus spending our lives trying to be copies, trying to be someone else. And so I think first and foremost, it's a wrestle that it's intrinsic to the human condition, because we're exposed, especially in this day and age, a day of performance, a day where everything's public. Like everything you put out there is in front of people, it's in the public eye. And so I think there's a danger more than ever to wear that mask. And I think first and foremost, I understand why people do it, because it's really, you have to win the war of, do I be vulnerable or do I not be vulnerable? Because often people choose, hey, actually, I don't want to show who I am. That's too vulnerable. So I'd rather appear to be someone else. I'd rather suppress these things. But I think one of the biggest dangers, I would say, is that what you gain is not worth it compared to what you lose. What Rachel was saying is so spot on, where you really do lose. Like there's so much in stake. Keeping up with appearances, wearing the masks, I feel like it's actually very exhausting. First of all, it's something that you can't do forever, right? Like it's actually, that's why I think even this conversation, my hope is that who's listening to this right now would feel a weight lift off their shoulders, because it is exhausting to try and be someone else. And I think that's believing a lie. That's believing a intrinsic lie that you're not valued, you're not worth it, you're not worthy, you don't have something original to share, which we all do, And so I feel like it's actually an exhausting thing to keep up with it. But the danger is that at some point, this shaky foundation of being someone that you're not is going to cave in, and you're left with just like a lesser version. You're left with a life that has been lived under potential, because at the end of the day, the grass isn't greener. Like the people that inspire us most are in fact the people that live their life fully them. And I think when we live our lives in pursuit of what that looks like, we're actually robbing the world, if I can put it that way, robbing the world of the us that the world needs.
So good. I love that. I know for me, when I was younger, and I had to process through this, I became addicted to approval. Because if I didn't get approval, then there was something wrong with me. And I wanted to change it. So that's when I would change and become something that I wasn't. And part of it comes down to my upbringing too, that I learned with certain people in my life. If I did well and did certain things, then I got more love. So if they approved of me, that equated love for me. So I would easily put on a mask in front of that person to become what I thought they wanted me to be. So they would approve of me, and then I would feel that they loved me. And it was this kind of thing that I had to weave through and be like, wait a second, if they only love me because I do this, this, and this, well, then that's not real anyways. You know, and unpacking, getting, like you were saying, finding identity of who am I? What was I created for? What is my purpose on this earth? Because that's where, when we're dealing with a lot of people, you know, that are in depression and things, they don't feel they bring any value to this world. They don't think that they have anything to give. So getting to that, just figuring out what is it that I am here for, you know, you kind of, when you have a grasp of that, then I think these masks go away a little bit quicker. Because when you know who you are and you know for sure that's it, then you can get confident in that and walk that out. But when you just have no clue, then you'll pick up any mask. Well, maybe this is me today, and you'll pick up that mask. Maybe this will fit me today. Okay, today this is this, and you become this chameleon to people for their approval and for just to fit in. You know, where now the amount of likes or the amount of followers you have define who you are in your high school or your college. I mean, it defines some people now. That becomes their identity. Well, if I have this many people that like me, well, then I am somebody. But then you have the opposite spectrum. If you don't have that, then you're a nobody. And then depression and comparison and all these things can come in. So you'll just, it's just this race to try to catch up and you know, just become whatever I have to be, you know, to find that identity. You know, and I think that's a very dangerous thing. You guys have both made excellent points into, man, we're taking away from, like, by you not being who you're supposed to be, you're taking away from the world what you have to offer. And I think even with something like this, look, we're all sitting here talking and pouring our hearts out. That's very vulnerable. And then to put it on social media, and then potentially people not like it or have a negative comment to it, that's very vulnerable. So we could easily, on this camera, put a mask on. I've got it all together. I'm great today. And then at home, someone sits and compares themselves, the worst, they're in depression, to a smile on a camera. A fake smile, a false smile, and they think they have it together. So my mask can actually lead someone further into depression, you know, by, instead of just being real and saying, hey, this is where I'm at. Today I struggled. Today was hard. Today we had this issue in our family, where they're like, oh, they're real.